Hello students, I hope you all are fine, and in this video we are going to discuss some concepts of link to SQL, and those concepts are related with the data manipulation operations, data insertion, updation and deletion. So if you remember in the last video we studied link to SQL, and in that we studied uh, selection of data with the help of link to SQL query. If you remember, this was the query that I wrote actually into the last video. So what we did into the last video in the link to SQL selection of data, we created a database. In that we created a table and we populated some data into a table. After that we added link to SQL data classes into our project. You see, so if you remember, we added link to SQL data classes into our project. See, by selecting link to SQL data component from the uh, data category. You see, if you see, this is actually data category here, and we added link to SQL classes component. And with this, we got two uh, files here. You see, the one file is data context. Data context, that is actually a class that is responsible to create a connection with the database and to update a database table according to the changes that we have made. And those changes can be insertion of data, updation of data, or deletion of data also. And they also created a table. See, and the table, they also created a class here with the same name. Uh, the name that is of a table over there into a database. So we have a class that is automatically created here. And if you remember, we created this class here with the help of the interface that we got actually with the help of the this interface. So what we did into the last lecture, we actually dragged this table from the database into the interface, and then we saved it, and by saving it we got these two classes over here, and now we were actually using these classes into our code. So we used this this users collection of data context class, and by using this users collection we were actually accessing multiple objects of a user class, and those objects were created automatically by the data context, and those number of those objects are actually dependent of the number of records of user table. So if you remember, when I executed this project, I was actually seeing these records. So currently there are 3 records into the table if you see here, and I am seeing those 3 records. So that was actually the selection of data. So what I did into this, I directly created object of data context, and then I wrote the query. And by using this query, I selected all the records, and then I assigned those records as a data source to the data grid view. So right now, little bit of you see DML with the help of link to SQL. So what I have to do here, so I am actually adding a new form here. So I am actually giving this now this form the name that is form 6. So I am writing very simple code here just for the sake of understanding, but you can explore more and you can go into the depth also. So into the load event, what I am going to do, I am selecting the uh, data from users table, record by record. Instead of assigning the query to the data source of a data grid view, I am actually going to access each record one by one, and then I can show the names of each user. So what I am doing, creating the object of data context and giving it the name context equals to new data context. Yeah. And now I can write a query also uh, on the users collection that we have into this context object, and I can display that one by one, and the values from those records one by one, as simple as I want to do. So what I am doing, variable users equals to see from context from user in context dot users collection select user. So I can write a loop also here. So instead of this, I can directly put this into the collection again, and I guess that would be okay. So let me complete this at first. So variable user in users, and then now I can display the name of each user dot first name. And here after executing this, see, oh, this is form 4, so I have to go into the program class to create the object of form 6 instead of form 4, and that's it. See, so the first name of first record first user is John, name of second user is Gage, name of third user is New, and now the form will be displayed. That's it. So this was actually the selection of each user from the users collection, and then actually execution of for each loop on the users. Okay, so okay, one more thing that we can do after actually uh, working with the context, we can dispose the context also. This is like disposing of a form. You see, disposing all the resources of a form. We do that with the help of a dispose method. Similarly, we are doing this dispose on the context also. So this is actually the selection operation. So instead of selection or the other operations also that we have to focus on, and those operations are insertion, updation, and deletion. So what we are going to do here, we are going to add one record into the table, and that table is you see DB or users. So there are 3 records right now. We are going to add 4th record through code. So this is actually creation of a object, a new record equals to new user. You see user is the class that we have got here. User class, we created this class with the help of the layout. So now new record dot first name equals to code, and a new record dot city equals to new city, and that's it. We created an object. Now we have to uh, you see assign this object, so that assign this object to the data context, so that data context inserts a new record into a table by using this data. And we haven't assigned any key ID value to the new record, because we know ID is identity and primary key, and it will be incremented automatically. So what we have to do, we have to tell the context to insert uh, context users dot insert on submit. What we have to insert, we have to insert new record. So this is actually the method. So we passed this object to the insert on submit method of users collection with the help of the context object. So what we are doing, insert this record when the submit method is being called. So now we are going to call a submit method, that is submit changes. So when the form will be loaded, a new record will be inserted automatically with this data into the table, and then we will be seeing 4 names instead of 3. So this is actually insertion of record into database table link, and this is selection of record through link to SQL, and that's it. So see, this code is executed and the record is inserted, and now we are seeing the names of each user: John, Gage, new, through code. That is the object that we have added right now, and the form is loaded now. So here we have to see the data of TBO users again, view data. You see this object, this record is added through code here. So after inserting the record, let me comment this code. So this is actually insertion operation out of DML, data manipulation operations. And there may be another operations like deletion and updation. So for updation, uh, what I am going to do, I am going to update the name of gauge here, or the name of new, that is third record. So I know all the records are there into the users collection. So what I am doing, a user uh, test update. This is test update user, test update equals to. So I may write this. I may select this third record from this users collection in various ways. The first one can be the usage of a link query itself, or the second way can be the usage of the methods that are given here. You see, into the context object. So user test update. The first way is actually context dot users dot single. What we have to select, so we have to pass this single actually the lambda expression, and lambda expression is actually a local method. It means we are passing this local method to the single method, and this local method will be called within the single method automatically at the back end. So record dot id was to 3, and now what we are doing, test update dot first name, test update dot first name equals to updated. So the name of the record with id 3 is new, and right now, okay, with this code we are going to update the value from new to updated new. So after assigning value updated new to the first name, I directly have to submit the changes, and this will update the record itself. into the table. So after executing, you can see John is the first record, Gage is the name of second record, and now updated new is the name of third record. And before that, the name of this record was new only, and this is fourth record, and here the form is there. So this is actually the code to update, and this is the way of selecting the particular record. See, this is way of selecting multiple records. This is way of selecting a single record. So now I'm going to update this, and let's see the data of dbo.users. So instead of new, here we have updated new now. So I'm going to delete this record, fourth record, from this table now with the help of a code. So what I am going to do, I am going to write a query here. See, user delete test equals to context dot uh, users dot single record dot id equals to 4. And now context dot users dot delete on submit what delete test. And now context dot submit changes and execution of the code. See John first, second, third, and the form is here. So fourth record is actually deleted from the table. So we have to view that using view data, and there's no a fourth record into the table right now because we have already deleted the fourth record with this code. So this is actually DML, uh, a DML operations, and now I'm going to give you an assignment also. So you have to utilize all these uh, operations uh, into a code, uh, but that code will be executed, you see, uh, in the form, you see, uh, in the manner the way we are actually designing the form, and that form, that graphical user interface will be attached into the assignment also. I hope you have understood all the concepts, and we will meet into the next video. Thank you.